My mom's phone rang at exactly 11:32 p.m., and it showed Mom calling even though she was sitting right next to me on the couch. Holding her phone, we were just watching TV in the dark, not really paying attention when her screen lit up and she turned it toward me, confused. I laughed at first thinking it was a glitch, but she didn't laugh because her phone wasn't making the call. It just kept ringing with her own name and number, until she slowly answered and put it on speaker. And for a second there was nothing. Just silence. Then a faint static and a voice, her voice whispering, "Don't say anything." My chest tightened instantly, and we both froze as the voice continued saying, "I can hear you breathing." My mom tried to speak, but it cut her off, telling her not to talk. Then it said something that made everything feel wrong. It said, "I'm in the house." We both went completely still, and I slowly looked toward the dark hallway. Then we heard a creak from upstairs and my mom whispered, "We need to call 911, but the voice was still there saying they won't get here in time. She hung up and called anyway while we listened to slow footsteps moving above us. The dispatcher answered and I gave the address. While my mom shook beside me, they told us to stay where we were. But then the footsteps stopped and her phone lit up again. This time already connected and we hadn't touched it. The speaker turned on by itself and the voice came back saying, "You looked," and I realized I had. Then it changed slightly, sounding wrong as it said, "Now I can come down." And suddenly, heavy footsteps started moving fast, upstairs toward the stairs. My mom grabbed my arm and we ran out the front door into the street, not stopping until we were under the lights. When the police came, they searched everything but found no one, no signs, no evidence. And when they checked her phone, there was no record of any calls at all. We stayed somewhere else that night and came back the next day. Everything looked normal, but felt slightly off, like something had changed. And that night we sat in the living room with all the lights on in silence until her phone lit up again. And this time it didn't say Mom calling, it said home calling, and it wasn't her number. It started with something so small I almost ignored it. My reflection was delayed not by much, just half a second, but once you notice something like that, you cannot unsee it. The first time it happened, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. I was brushing my teeth, same routine, same mirror, same everything. I moved my hand, and for a split second my reflection didn't, then it caught up perfectly. I froze, staring at myself, waiting, but nothing happened. It looked normal again. I even tested it, moving my head side to side, raising my hand, blinking, everything matched, so I laughed it off, told myself it was just exhaustion. I work long hours, I barely sleep. It made sense, but the next night it happened again, this time longer. I waved my hand slowly in front of the mirror, and my reflection didn't move for a full second. It just stood there. Then suddenly it snapped into place perfectly in sync again. That's when I stopped laughing, because that's not how reflections work. I covered the mirror that night with a towel. I didn't want to look at it. It didn't want to think about it. But sometime around 3 a.m., I woke up and the towel was on the floor. The mirror was exposed and I could see it from my bed. My reflection was standing there looking at me. But I wasn't standing. I was lying down, frozen. I sat up slowly, heart pounding, and the moment I moved, it dropped back into place, lying in bed, matching me perfectly again. I didn't sleep after that. The next day, I stayed out as long as I could, avoided going home, avoided every mirror I could find. But you don't realize how many reflective surfaces there are until you're trying not to see yourself. Phone screens, TV windows, even the microwave. And every single one was just slightly off. Half a second, sometimes more, like whatever was copying me was getting worse or slower. That night, I decided to face it. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror with the lights off, only a dim lamp behind me, and I waited. I didn't move, didn't blink, just stared. And after a while, it happened my reflection blinked first. I didn't, then it smiled. I wasn't smiling. My stomach dropped. I tried to move, but I couldn't. It tilted its head slowly, unnaturally, like something learning how to be human. Then it leaned forward, not inside the mirror, but toward me. I stumbled back, hitting the wall, barely able to breathe, and my reflection stayed there, at the edge of the mirror, watching me. Then, without making a sound, I heard it in my head. "You're the delay." Everything went quiet after that. The next morning, everything seemed normal. No delay, no movement, nothing. I tested it, moved my hand, blinked, turned my head, perfect sync, exactly how it should be. I almost convinced myself it was all in my head, until I picked up my phone and opened the front camera. I looked at myself, and my reflection was already smiling before I was, and slowly, very slowly, I felt my own face start to copy it.